sometimes throwing money at something isn't the answer.
It has to make financial sense. You're not just buying the property and hoping it works out down the line, because you could buy a property and get no return on your investment.
Real estate investors, warning, warning, warning. Learn when to say no. Omar, when do you say no on an investment property purchase?
Investors should say no when the deal doesn't make any sense financially.
When doesn't it make sense financially?
So when you evaluate any real estate investment or investment in general, you have to ask yourself, how much am I getting in for what I'm putting in, right? Putting out. So in real estate, if you're buying an investment property, there's a certain percentage of profit, a real return on investment that you should be aiming for.
What's that percentage?
I mean, a good benchmark is 10%. You should get 10% on your total cash investment.
So I know there's a lot of people out there that are itching to get into real estate, right? Because as they say in the lottery, if you're not in it, you can't win it.
Right.
If you don't buy that property, you can't make that money. Mm-hmm. But do most people, or do a lot of investors out there make that mistake and they don't know when to say no and they just buy it?
Yeah, I think we're seeing a lot of that in this market right now.
Okay.
Because for the past how many years, homes have been overpriced, and there's a lot of people that have been saving, that have funds sitting around, pooling money together with friends and family, and they're looking for deals. So I have a good 3-4 people who are always sending me deals that they're interested in buying, but they don't understand that if you're going to put $250,000, $300,000 into a rental property, it has to make financial sense. You're not just buying the property and hoping it works out down the line, because you could buy a property and get no return on your investment, and then you're just babysitting that property in hopes that someday you could sell it for more. That's not a good investment.
So 10% number that you said earlier, was that something that you were told to do, or where did you come up with that 10% number?
So in today's market, if you put your money just in the bank, right? What are banks paying today?
I don't know,
Like
4%, 5%?
Up to 5%, sometimes even higher, up to 5.5%. So that's a good benchmark. Does your real estate investment make more money than what the bank is giving you for doing nothing?
Okay.
So if your deal doesn't at least make 5 to 5.5%, you know it's not worth it. So then what number does make sense? Does 6% make sense?
Get it. So for me, I don't do anything less than 10%.
10%,
That's my
so
bare minimum.
Exactly. Yeah. That's the bare minimum. So if you save up, and you spend years saving up $200,000 to $250,000, you need that money to make sense and put it into something that grows.
Because you only have one shot at your first opportunity.
Yeah, and you can ruin it. So if you would you buy something? Let's just say you're working a 9 to 5. You're a nurse, for example. You save up $250,000. Would you buy an investment property that gives you a 6.5% return?
I wouldn't know.
You wouldn't.
No.
Right. So because you know you can get.
I'm also not a nurse.
But you know, there's a lot of people in that situation.
Yeah.
But if you were to buy something, what type of return would you want, as knowing what you know?
I think when you're starting out as an investor, for me, it had to have twofold, right? That 10% is great, but why do I want to tie up all my assets and buy and hold something when I'm only making 10%?
Exactly.
Then it limits me in the future.
It does.
So I would buy something with a 10% return if it was a hold for a short time because I was going to do something else with it.
That's because you're a full-time real estate investor. So you have bigger goals.
Yes.
So say someone who works their career, but they want to start buying properties here and there over the course of 10, 20 years, and they can only buy it once they save up the money, right? What type of deal should that person be looking for? If they have, let's throw out a number out. They have $250,000 and they want to buy a rental.
I mean, I would look for 15 to 20%.
You would?
Yeah.
Do you think they could find that in today's market?
It's hard. I think if it was something that gave them a value-added opportunity where, you know, they bought something with under-rented apartments, or the apartments were trashed and they were going to fix them up and add value and raise the rents, then
Yeah, so those, I would agree, that they have to find something that's value add off market. So I have a friend, and I won't give names because he might watch this, but he has a lump sum of money, and he's always sending me deals telling me that if he puts $300,000 down, $400,000 down, the deal starts to cash flow. And he sees it as a good buy and hold because his money's sitting in the bank. So why not buy something? And over time, real estate prices always go up is what people believe. Even though it doesn't, people believe it always goes up. In a long enough time, it does, but overall it doesn't. So he thinks that he could put enough money to turn a bad deal into a good deal. I'm always telling him to sit this one out, wait for the right deal that's a value add, or something that gets a 15% plus return.
Yeah, sometimes throwing money at something isn't the answer. You know, we recently had an opportunity, or we had a property that we've held for a couple of years, and we could have thrown more money into it to get it to where we initially decided we were going to make that and bought it. but an opportunity came along for us to sell it and make that same amount of money, even though we didn't plan on selling it.
Right.
It just made more sense to sell it.
Right.
So I don't know that throwing money at things is always the answer.
No, I don't
Yeah,
think it is.
yeah.
So I think people who are looking for good deals today, just base it on the ROI you get, not so much just getting into a property for the sake of owning something.
Got it. So the big thing is know how much money you have to start.
Yeah.
Remember that this is your first time as an investor, so you have to make the right decision. Take that warning seriously. Don't just buy it because, I'm going to make $500 on $250,000
Right.
down payment. Know your numbers. Make sure that using your savings or your first opportunity to buy something with the money you've worked hard to get, make sure it's giving you the right return.
Thanks for watching this episode. Now don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment. And we'll see you next time.